The final season of The Boys is upon us, boys, and everything we've heard about it has confirmed one thing. It will be a bloodbath like no other. The alliances are set. The nukes are out. We're pretty sure Firecracker can't pump for too long, which means Homelander's about to be out of milk. And we know how bad Homie is when he's on dairy. But even though April isn't too far off, everyone's got their theories, right? Well, we're throwing our hats into the ring too, because these are 5 insane theories about The Boys Season 5 that we think are almost confirmed. And, spoiler warning, because we will be talking about the comics here. Homelander becomes president and beats his son to near death. At the end of Season 4, Homelander became the leader of the United States, but not in the ultimate sense. After President Calhoun declared martial law, he granted Supe's official permission to enter the government's ranks and handed Homelander the reins. But martial law is a special case. When it's invoked, it puts the military command structure of a country in control of said country. So, really, Homelander is just an up-jumped general with the power to corral the masses and send them off to freedom camps. He's not the commander-in-chief. Calhoun is. And we all know Homie's got problems with anyone being a higher authority in the same room as him, even if that authority is ceremonial. He wants to be the belle of the ball. He wants the baton to be in his hand so everyone can see that he won his team the race. And that's what we think is going to happen by the end of Season 5, because that's how the comics end. That shot of Homelander sitting in the Oval Office most likely takes place after he gets frustrated with Calhoun's talk of policy and him being the actual commander-in-chief. Bonus points if the show actually goes there and makes Homelander do what he does to Vic the Veep's skull in the comics. This will follow his narrative thread of wanting absolute authority and becoming the god of Earth. And if he gets his hands on V1, which looks likelier by the minute, then becoming president would be a piece of cake. So that's the first part of this prediction. The second part is something many have been speculating since both the teaser and the trailer dropped, and to us, it makes the most sense. Everyone thinks that Ryan has broken bad, that he's about to embrace his dad's ideologies with open arms. But that's not true. Ryan's arc in Season 4 highlighted the conflict within his soul, because on one hand, Homelander is the only parent he has left. But on the other hand, Becca was his true parent and guiding North Star for the majority of his life. When Ryan killed Grace, it felt like he'd completed his transformation into a monster. But the look on his face screamed conflicted emotions. He had no idea how to process what he'd done. And 6 months is a long time to think things over. Based on what we've seen in the promos for the final season, we think Ryan's going to decide that he's done with his dad. We also think that he'll find out the truth about his conception, and that will only make him hate Homelander even more. Our best estimation is that Homie lets Vought's operatives handle the hunt for Ryan while he gets his presidential affairs in order. But once he realizes that he has to discipline the kid himself, he seeks him out and does exactly that. There are only 2 people in the world right now that can make him feel the grim disappointment his face displays in that shot. And incidentally, both of them can also hit him hard enough to make his nose bleed. Considering Homelander and Soldier Boy will be allied with each other in Season 5, it only makes sense that the person he's beating is Ryan. And that moment will be when Ryan decides he needs to stop his dad by any means necessary. Whether he survives the beating is a different matter. Perhaps he pulls his dad at Herogasm and just flies away. Or, to make things even darker than they already are, Homelander actually kills his son. Both alternatives point towards epic showdowns between them that they'll come to truly understand the meaning of the phrase sins of the father. And we can't wait to see if we're right about both of these theories. Sister Sage is the mole in Vought. When Sage and Homelander first met, they were operating on 2 different wavelengths. Homie was lost and directionless, looking to recruit someone that could help him steer the ship called Vought. Sage was hiding out in her apartment, which would have given Marie Kondo a heart attack. She earned his respect by instantly analyzing the fact that aging was bothering him a lot. And the moment they truly connected was when he heard her plan to put him in control of the world. Sage told him that instead of killing everyone, which was his natural instinct, he should play both sides against each other so that he can emerge victorious as the savior of humanity and Supe kind. Because Homelander is a massive fan of history and historical figures, he finally realized that she was talking about pulling a Caesar and this plan of hers would effectively make him Caesar. But what he's forgetting is that Caesar was part of a republic where elected senators held power. Him eclipsing the Senate's authority and nearly being crowned emperor was what got him killed by people he trusted. While he might not be thinking about that during season 5, we're willing to bet our house that Sage is. And after being betrayed by her boo, Thomas Godolkin, we don't see her having a problem with being the modern age Brutus. The symbolism synergy that such a move would provide to the series can't be understated. Because the United States also has a Senate and a democracy that was specifically built to keep monarchy out. We all know that Homelander prefers a more medieval approach to everything, and being king is much simpler than being president. Plus, Sage is smart enough to figure out that she's empowered a man she can no longer contain or manipulate. And whether or not she agreed with Godolkin's plan to take control of the world by taking control of Homelander, she will be implicated as a complicit party. Our best guess is that she'll pretend to be meek and cooperative while she cooks up a strategy to take him down from the inside. And when Homelander feels safest, that's when she'll reveal her true colors to him. The Supe genocide is real, but it won't happen. In the first episode of The Boys, as Butcher is working Huey over and trying to get him to join the boys, he gives a speech. The crux of the speech is this: Supes run the world in every way that matters. The only thing they haven't done is take control outright. They're brand ambassadors, starring in films, performing rescues without jurisdiction of proper authority. He implies that in order to return the world to the state that it was in before they were created, all of them need to go. Everything since then has been about Butcher looking for a way to get rid of all Supes. And now that he has the means to do it, aka Dr. Samir's Supe-killing virus, we don't think that he's letting the opportunity slip through his hands. The comics took a different approach to this virus because it was developed after Butcher's final confrontation with Homelander. His delivery system was similar, but his method was different in that he wanted to make the virus airborne through hundreds of bombs planted across the globe. He would then trigger a specific frequency to activate the virus, kind of like what happens in the first Kingsman film. The show has made the Supe virus more like COVID-19, which is intentional, and this virus does not require him to climb the Empire State Building to trigger it. So, while the method of the genocide might be real, the actual methodology is quite different, and the results might be too. Time and again, The Boys has emphasized the fact that Annie January is the one true hero of this series. She's the one who is capable of and willing to lead the Supe community into a new era, where they're not forced to be corporate shills and guinea pigs like they were under Vought. That entire plotline will lose its meaning if Butcher wins and kills all Supes, including himself. So, yes, while the trailer does feature a moment where the virus gets released, it won't cause a complete genocide. Yes, many Supes will die in Season 5, but enough will also survive that the world can learn not to idolize them and see them for what they are: human beings jumped up on a chemical compound. Hell, Butcher might not even get as far as the Empire State Building in the show. And that's because Butcher's cancer will be the real final boss. The show has introduced a wild card into Butcher's character arc by giving him a sentient cancer tumor, something he didn't have in the comics. It's become representative of his evil side, the side that says screw all the weak voices holding you back and just kill them all instead. In a way, everything he's been doing since he got the cancer has been about him listening to it, and not the angel on his shoulder. And it's that Kessler-shaped devil that really wants a Supe genocide. Everyone's predicting Butcher will become the main villain of the series, and they're not entirely wrong. He does become the real final boss in the comics, because even taking care of Homelander doesn't heal the wounds in his heart. He ends up going after his own teammates, which is something the show might adapt as well. But the big difference is that in the comics, Butcher does it of his own volition. His mind isn't being influenced by a tumor, because he never takes V24. He's in complete control of his thoughts and emotions in the sense that he makes the choices that he makes, and not some living parasite that's made its nest within his body. So really, the main villain of The Boys Season 5 will be Butcher's cancer. And heck, if they take the diabolical route, we might even get to see him fight it. Butcher's sentient tumor is based on what happens in The Boys Diabolical's 7th episode, where the husband of a lady called Sun Hee injects her with Compound V to save her from pancreatic cancer. Instead, he ends up giving her a sentient tumor like Butcher's, only Sun Hee's tumor leaves her body and is destroyed in that same episode by her. That won't be the case for Billy Boy. because he has accepted the cancer's evil influence on him. So, when he does eventually target his friends, we want you to remember that Butcher's cancer is the true antagonist here, even though he's the one who wanted to exterminate all Supes first. And, speaking of extermination, Ryan kills Homelander, and Huey kills Butcher. Despite his V'd-up tumor being powerful enough to rip Victoria Newman in half, we don't think Butcher is as powerful as Homelander. Heck, we think that his chances of getting revenge with his own hands might become weaker if Homie ends up taking V1, which has a high probability of happening. Plus, the comics use ballistic missiles to deal with the Supe problem, and the real villain was revealed to be Black Noir. That's not happening in the show. So, it begs the question, how exactly will Homelander die? Because he needs to die for the boys to have a satisfying conclusion. We know that many out there would like to see him continue aura farming until the end of time, but sadly, that's not how stories work. And for this story to work, Homelander's death is not just inevitable, it's essential. So if Butcher can't kill him and the boys can't steer Samir's virus to target V1 subjects, which will be a massive concern in Season 5, how will Homelander be dealt with? We think that the answer was given to us through another character, and that's Petite Huey himself. One of the most heartbreaking things from Season 4 was Huey having to put his dad out of his misery. When he realized that his dad had a stroke and was now in a life-threatening coma, Huey gave him Compound V, hoping that he'll recover. Hugh Sr. does recover, but his mind becomes fragmented to the point he turns into a massive threat to innocent people. Huey realizes that in order to save his dad, he has to kill him, and so he does, using Frenchie's knowledge of drugs and chemistry. In a twist of irony, Homelander's character arc this season kind of mirrors Hugh Sr.'s, because to cure himself of the disease of mortality, he's looking for that immortality juice. But when he realizes that even that won't help, his son Ryan will play Huey for him and put him out of his misery. By doing this, Ryan will avenge his mother and bring justice to Butcher, and prove he's an actual hero, unlike his biological father. And he will be getting payback for the ass whooping Homelander gives him as well. But this could also become the moment where Butcher realizes he can no longer relieve his own pain and become the reason he starts going through with his plan to cause a global genocide. It would make more narrative sense for the story Eric Kripke and his team have set up for the adaptation, because what's left when you don't even have revenge anymore? If Ryan becomes the one to kill Homelander, Butcher will put his genocide plan into action, and that would explain why he kills his teammates a lot better. In the comics, the boys were all Supes, so they were on his hit list anyway. But unless the show makes them take Compound V in the final season, that can't be the justification for Butcher doing them in. What can be the justification is if they hide the virus from him, and the trailers even feature a scene where Butcher wraps his cancer tendrils around Huey's neck during a disagreement. That disagreement most likely stems from the fact that he wants absolute extermination, and Huey wants to rehabilitate the Supes that remain after Homelander's downfall. And it would force this guy, who was such a softie in Season 1, who couldn't even process his girlfriend's death and joined a Black Ops hit squad for vengeance, finally become a warrior for true justice. Huey killing Butcher also has another layer, because Butcher sees him as the reincarnation of his dead brother Lenny, and he blames himself for Lenny's death. In fact, the flashback where we saw Butcher's childhood made it very clear that he wanted to die instead of Lenny, and that he'd have let Lenny kill him if the kid got the chance. Our theory is that Huey will fulfill his desire from that flashback and put an end to his tyranny and misery. And that's how the world of the boys will enter a true new era.
Beat him, join him, then beat him.
But as for the most insane theories we've got for The Boys Season 5, these are it. And if you've been with us until the end, you know that each and every one of them is a precedent set in stone. Let us know which of these you think will become reality in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more Supe-related content. We'll see you guys soon with yet another video. So until then, stay safe, and bye-bye.